Hello everybody and welcome to the Obscura Toy Files. I'm your host Chris Boglan-Negri, and today we're looking at Entertech and LJN Toys 1988 Spitballs. This line came out, I'm assuming after some of the fad that was going on with Mad Balls, and they're actually kind of neat. They're small, about the size of like a golf ball. You got them two in a pack. And the whole gimmick behind these is that they're squishy. You take them and you put them in water and suck up the water, and then you spray them at each other. So that was kind of fun. They had a whole mess of them. They had like 12 of them, I think. 4, 8, 12, yeah. Now, this line actually had some licensing attached to it, but these were the actual in-house properties that were created by LJN and Entertech. So these are their own designs. These aren't licensed. It's just they license the Spitball's name and the style and what it does to, I think they had like Dracula and Frankenstein. They had Freddy Krueger and a Victim. They had Jason Voorhees and a Victim. They did Ghostbusters. So they had a lot of stuff going on with it, but it didn't really take off as much as Mad Balls did. Not that Mad Balls took off a lot, really, comparatively, but I think this is a little bit very unknown line. I mean, I didn't even know about it growing up, and I had a lot of really weird toys. Mostly because I think they were on the clearance rack, and that was the cheapest thing to get. And toys are toys, as long as they're fun, I didn't care. But I saw this guy, Sergeant Spitz. I saw him at a local retro toy store with a friend of mine a few years ago, and I saw it in a bin. And I didn't know what the heck it was, and it was like a tiny little ball. And just seeing this, I'm like, what is that? I mean, have you ever heard of the toy line called Nerfles? They're like the same size as a Nerfle, and Nerfles we'll get to review because those are a lot of fun. That was made by Parker Brothers. But they basically have the same size as this, and I thought it was like some weird military Nerfle. I'm like, that's impossible. They never made military Nerfles. There was a preschool line aimed at like 2-year-olds. There wasn't anybody a general in there. Then I showed it to my friend, and my friend's like, oh, those are Spitballs. I had them when I was a kid. I'm like, oh, okay. So then I did a little Google searching. On the back of all of them, it says, if you can, I'll put it a little close, it says 1988 LJN Toys. So that was what I used for help. And then I started doing some searching, and then the internet didn't turn up too much, but then eBay showed me a couple of auctions. Now remember, when you're really looking for rare toys and you have no idea what they are, try Google first, or some internet search engine. It doesn't have to be Google, and then try eBay, because a lot of times you'll find the stuff carded with better pictures than you'd ever see on some sort of fan site, mostly because people who have stuff online, they don't actually own the stuff, or have access to a scanner or a really good camera, so it's hard to find somebody who has all those things together to make a really good guide for people who are trying to get into the line. If you don't have access to those things, it's impossible to show people what existed, and there aren't any other ways to do it. I mean, I started, before I did this review, I did a little searching on YouTube, and I couldn't find anything for these, so I'm just like, well, you know what, I guess they're harder to, nobody knows about them. Perfect for the review. So this is Spit's skull, and this is Shades. He's like a beach ball. And the thing with all Spitballs is they're only half sculpted, really. If you look at this really closely, maybe you can see there's a line right down the middle. Everything from this side of the line is a sculpt, and then the back is the exact same. But they're very clever. They made this little tiny square on the bottom, so you can actually take your Spitballs and just stand them up. Look at that. I bet you guys are probably wondering, how is he balancing them so nicely? So they're all like that. Now, funny part about Shades here is that if you look at him, you can actually see like eyes. He's a really cool facial expression. He's just like I love this sculpt. And you have indents, the lines to the beach ball are actually sculpted on this side, but past this side, they're just painted. So they kind of just cheaped out, and they used the same back of the sculpt for all the different pieces. But he's cool. I like this too a lot. They were a good grab for me. And then you look at the back. This package we have here is Franken Smith and Kicker, who's a soccer ball. The back of the package, as I showed you before, we have, it says, collect them all. It's in order with an exclamation point. Don't not collect them all. Otherwise, Entertech and LJN will be very upset. We have 3 different teams. We have the Beasts, which consists of Squirt, which I think might be a beaver, Hoghead, a pig, Lockjaw, the shark, Spit-It, the frog, I guess like Ribbit. Then there's the Jocks, and you have Slider, who's like a baseball player, Fumbler, who is a football player, Shades is a beach ball, Kicker is a soccer ball, and then we have the Wackos. The Wackos are Franken Spitz, Jacko Spitz, Spitz Skull, and Sergeant Spitz. I'm not sure why Sergeant Spitz, who's obviously like a general or something, is in the, or obviously a sergeant in the military, is in the Wacko section, unless he's like a military wacko. Was Entertech trying to be political? Like, yeah, we're going to put the military guy right there in the Wacko section. We're not hiding it. I don't know. I think it's just funny to me that it's like monster, Halloween, monster, military man. Makes perfect sense. They all go together. Yeah. So we're going to take a look at this line. Look at the packaging. There's the Spitballs logo. There's a picture of, what's his name again? It's a Slider taking a peek at you, saying, hey. Angle this up a little bit so you guys can see it better. Now this cost $1, whoever they found it. I paid more like 10, I think, for each of these on card. Ranges 4 and up. This is right there. Quick loading and fast shooting. Spitballs with Slider spitting his spit at these guys. It says, don't say it, spray it. Spits water up to 18 feet. And there's a sticker here that shows you what it is. So this card back was all the same. They would just put different stickers on for every. They really figured out a way to make the packaging very inexpensively. That's not a bad thing. I mean, the cost of the toys is less, and it's awesome. We're going to check this 18 feet thing out. And, I'm going to do some future reviews, or like a group review of all the toys I have that squirt water, like the little loggers, and anything else I have that I review squirts water. And we're going to do like a test, and we'll do it outside and spray water and see how far these actually go. Okay, so these are made in 1988. We're going to crack these open with my handy pocket knife, as I like to keep all my card backs intact. And I got to be also extra careful because I don't want to puncture any of these guys and pop the ball, because then it wouldn't work anymore, and that would really stink. I gotta be extra cautious. I gotta hit a snag there. You guys can't even. This card back is so small you guys can't even see it. Yeah, you guys gotta get right underneath. Now sometimes they have. Sometimes packaging has like an inner bubble to kind of keep the toys suspended in the air. But I don't know if that's the case here. I think that's enough for us. We got at least. Sorry. Camera focus. There we go. Just we can get it out like that. Boom. Comes in a little tray. And there we have our two Spitballs. We have Franken Smith, who squirts water out of the center of his head where it's like a little hole. That's funny. Water good. Got a little tiny. See, they're very, again, like, see what I said? The hair doesn't even go all the way to the back. They managed to just top it off right there. So it's like, this is Frankenstein, and this is a green Spitball. Has a little bolts in his neck. Or neck. This is just a head. And then we have Kicker here. And Kicker, they just totally cheaped out on him. I mean, his nose is like a little hexagon, or pentagon, I believe is the actual shape. And that's a raised edge, and these are all raised here. And then once you come around back, it's just white. I mean, I guess it would have cost more to put those all around it, but I think it really would have helped complete the whole look of it being a soccer ball if the entire thing was covered. I think it's like it cheaped it out by not doing that. I don't really agree with that 100%. That's more of a, like they didn't do that for Shades. Shades at least focus. Shades at least had look normal. Everybody else kind of got stuck, which I think is kind of jerky. Yeah, and the Spit Skull has a gold tooth. But yeah, they're cool little toys. I mean, I definitely recommend picking them up. Don't spend a lot of money on these things. I know they're hard to find, but if you can find them loose, get them loose. I found that Sergeant Spitz loose, and he was in fine shape. He squished fine. He didn't, there wasn't nothing broken about him. This was the only way I could find them. They weren't selling loose samples on eBay, so I'm like, you know what? It's carded. I'll know it's new. I know I'll be the first person to play with it. I'll go with it. Yeah, so they're not bad toys. They're fun. They're little. You can carry a bunch of them in your pocket and squish them all. And they're good for little kids to play with. So if you have any little brothers and sisters that want to play with your toy collection, they really can't break these unless they take a knife to them or something. They're pretty much unbreakable. I mean, they're pretty good to go. Kicker looks like he's got like a red tint on him. I don't know if it's the paint from his tongue leaching over the years or what. I have no idea. Because these things are not quite 30 years old. They're close. But yeah, I definitely recommend you guys picking them up if you see them. They're fun little toys. And this is, again, Entertech's Spitballs line from 1988. Also, LJN, I believe LJN Toys owned Entertech, and they were a subsidiary of them, so they kind of put it out together. But So if you love your LJN toys, then go pick them up. They're awesome. Make sure to like and subscribe, and see you guys in the next review. Take care.